to make today is a version that is a no-bake creme brulee.
I love that.
And one of my pet peeves is when you have a beautiful creme brulee and you're looking forward to that vanilla, and you look through it and you really have to search for it. You look and it ends up at the bottom of the dish and it ends up in the dishwasher.
Right.
So you don't want that to go into the dishwasher.
Right.
You want to taste that. So I'm going to show you the step that we take to ensure that the vanilla bean is spread throughout the custard so it ends up in your palette and not in the dishwasher.
I love this. I can't wait to see.
So the process is going to be identical. We have heavy cream that you boil. You have to be very careful not to overboil it.
Okay.
You don't want to mix, this is egg yolks and sugar. This is our matcha. We're making a flavored creme brulee.
Right. What is matcha?
Matcha is green tea. It's powder, but there's different grades.
Okay.
There's ceremonial, there's premium, and there's culinary.
Okay.
So ceremonial is the highest grade, is the smallest leaves, ground fine. The next level is premium, which is what I have using here.
Okay.
I do not use culinary. I think it tastes terrible. And I don't think it's good enough.
And you have a very refined palate, as I've noticed.
Thank you.
You really do.
So the technique, let me show you. We're going to pour the...
all egg yolks.
All egg yolks. I do everything by weight, too. When you look at the recipe, for consistency, you want to weigh everything. Don't do things by volume. Okay, another thing. When you mix your sugar and your eggs, you want to make sure that you immediately are ready to pour the hot cream.
Okay.
Because if you mix it ahead of time, what happens is that it's going to cook the yolk.
The sugar will.
The sugar will cook the yolks. That's why we're
Interesting.
going to be. So you mix it, and you mix it enough. You don't have to put any air. You don't want any air in a custard.
Because that'll give you the bubbles, right?
Exactly. So then you want to pour a little bit of the cream. This is called tempering. So you bring things to similar temperature and similar consistency so that they mix well better. So
you're not getting that cooked egg.
Right. So say you put a little bit in there. The flavoring we're going to put it in right now. This is vanilla paste. Because we have such a crisis, I'm not buying vanilla beans.
Right.
Because instead of $34 for 8 ounces, it cost me $200. I can't. So we're going to put, see the paste?
But you see all of the beans right in there.
You still see the beans, but it's more liquid form.
Right.
And then you have your matcha powder. So you want to mix that in here too.
And it gives it such a beautiful green color too.
Yeah, look at that color. And in here, normally if you're making matcha tea for drinking, you have to be very careful to mix it in water. But because we're going to strain it, you don't have to worry too much about the lumps.
The lumps.
Yeah, we're going to get rid of them.
Nice.
This is the part where most people stop and they pour the mix into the containers.
Okay.
I put it back in the pan. You have to make sure that when you put it back in the pan and back on the stove, that you have everything ready. So we're going to strain it into that. And we have our gelatin here. And we're going to squeeze this out.
So tell me about the gelatin. Is that why this is going to be a no-bake?
Right. Okay. So I use leaf gelatin. And you can get this online. Or if you have a really nice gourmet store, you can get this at a local store. I strongly suggest supporting local businesses.
Absolutely.
So this is, see that? So you want
to
soften
cellophane
it.
Almost.
Right.
Yeah.
So you need to soften it so that it can melt. And you don't want to put that on the stove yet. Okay. So you have to, see how I have ice in here?
Yeah.
I put a little bit of ice because if the water is even slightly warm, it'll melt the gelatin.
Oh, okay.
So then it'll dilute and you will lose your effect. You want to make sure that and it only takes 5 to 10 minutes. See this now?
Oh, yeah.
And you want to make sure that you really squeeze out that excess water because you don't want to water down your mix. So for this, this is 1 quart of creme brulee. We're using 3 sheets of gelatin.
Okay.
You can use powdered gelatin too. I believe 1 envelope is equivalent to about 3 sheets.
Okay.
So this will be about, but in that case you have to rehydrate it in water, and the ratio is 3 to 1.
All right.
I'm sorry, 5 to 1. 5 times water. Okay. So the egg is your thickener, but your egg is not going to thicken it enough.
Right. That's where the gelatin comes in.
That's exactly.
Nice.
We're waiting for it to thicken a little bit. You have to make sure that it doesn't boil, because if
Okay.
it boils, you're going to have scrambled eggs.
So you have to be really
So
delicate.
You have to be very careful. And if you use a thermometer, I have a thermometer here, and this does Celsius and Fahrenheit.
Okay.
I'm used to Celsius for this kind of recipe. At the end of it, you want it to be 82 degrees Celsius.
Okay.
But you have to remember that the pan is very hot and it stays hot for a long time. So when it gets to 80, I totally take it out.
All right, because
and
it's
I
going to
strain
continue
it.
to cook.
And it'll scramble. It'll take you 10 seconds for it to go from perfect to scramble. And you don't want to have the fire too high.
Okay.
For that same reason, you want to have a very gentle heat.
So just take it low and slow.
That's correct.
Oh, you can see,
So
yeah,
see
it's
how
really
it's thickened?
thickened up.
This is why you have to have this ready, because
Right.
look at that. It could be scrambled. See, if I don't clean the sides,
That'll all be scrambled.
you can see
Wow.
that this side here is a little thickened. See how that's scrambled already?
Yeah.
If you're really fast,
You can
and you
get
don't have
it
to
all,
waste it, you
but-
got to get it all and strain it through. But you see how easy it'll turn, right? And I
Very
took
quick.
it off at 77 degrees. So you want to strain it to smooth it out and to make sure. I should have really mixed the matcha with the egg yolk at first, but I'm going to show you another trick,
Okay.
because in real life we get distracted, so we need to have plan B.
And especially on TV.
And I've learned so many tricks.
I'm sure you have, yeah.
So what we're going to do after this is we're going to bring it together with my hand blender.
I love those hand blenders. They are so convenient in the kitchen.
Yes. And I don't even like the professional ones. I like that one that I've had for like 20 years and it still
Right.
works.
They don't
Okay,
make
so-
them like they used to. They really don't.
Yeah, see, so you squeeze all that out. You don't want to use the same spatula with all the gritty stuff.
Right, because now you've already strained it.
Correct. Okay, so see here, it's kind of smooth, but we're going to smooth it more with the blender.
Okay.
So now that we strained our creme brulee mix, this is when you add the gelatin. I don't like to add it in the pot, because if it gets too hot, it boils. The gelatin doesn't have its effect.
That's interesting. I never knew that about
Yes,
gelatin.
it's very sensitive to heat. And then we're going to really emulsify it with the hand blender. You want to make sure that you don't put air into it,
Right.
so you want to be careful.
So you don't want to go crazy with it.
Right, but see how it's smoothing it out?
Yeah. You're getting rid of all those little specks.
I like to have a little bit of spets because it reminds me of vanilla.
Yeah.
And it allows me to demo how important this stage is, because instead of all that sinking to the bottom, you're going to see it spread throughout the
Nice.
entire mix.
So that made a big
Okay.
difference.
Yeah, I got a little bit of air, but there's a trick for that too.
So did you
trick
say
one.
emulsifying means when you're blending things that would normally separate, or what do you
Right.
exactly mean?
So let's take the example of oil and vinegar.
Right.
If you have oil and vinegar, they are completely separated. But if you throw in an egg yolk and then you slowly pour the oil, then you make a vinaigrette, right? Or
Right.
mayonnaise or whatever you're
gets
making.
thick.
So, and that is one homogeneous product. That's what that does. Okay, so here's a little toy.
Oh, wow.
This is like a funnel, and it has different sizes of holes.
Yeah.
You need something to hold it straight. So we're going to pour it into here, because when we pour it into the molds, you want to do it clean.
Yeah. So this is the tool that really helps you do that.
Right. You'll see how cool this is.
Okay.
Okay, para Silvia.